Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be working on the I Love the 90s dress, the doll version. I'm super excited because the 90s dress is one of my favorite dresses, my favorite dress pattern, and I'm just super excited to make it in the doll version because I know the dolls are gonna like it just as much as I do. So let's get to sewing. Alright, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our front bodice, and it's gonna be for our liner and our outer. We're gonna do it for both, and we're gonna grab our back bodices, our liner and our outer bodices, and you're gonna match up those shoulder seams. So you're gonna match up liner to liner and outer to outer. So we're gonna match up here the shoulders. Make sure that your straight part goes through the inside because your arm size is on this side, and that they're gonna have to match up the arm size of the liner and of the outer. And I'm going to go ahead and pin these shoulders and just real quick go over here and sew them. All right, now that we have our shoulders sewn, we're gonna open them up. So here's our neck area. This is our front bodice. These are our back bodices. And we're gonna grab our liner and our outer. We're gonna place it right on top of each other, right sides together, matching at those seams right here. And apologize, boy's sitting right here next to me chewing on his big bone, making all kinds of noises. So if you hear that noise, it's just Bo because he wants to hang out with us while we're sewing. And we're going all the way, we're pinning around the neck area. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and sew that neck area first and then go ahead and sew those side seams. But a lot of times I like to go ahead and start, go up, go around and down. That's what I'm going to do this time. Around. Now for this project, I'm going to be using my serger, but you can definitely use some kind of stretch stitch on your sewing machine. Zigzag stitch, lightning bolt stitch, either of those, any of those will work. So down, around, and down. All right, now we're gonna prep our sleeve. What I'm gonna do is, well, while I'm at it, since it's already folded, I'm gonna go ahead and find my top where my corner, my half is of my sleeve. I like to do that, that way when I go to put it on, I will already have that. And then I'm going to steam my seam allowance and go ahead and hem my sleeve already. That way when I sew it on the round, when I sew it onto my dress, I don't have to worry about hemming, because hemming a really tiny sleeve would be very hard. My iron is heating up. But while I'm at it, I'm also going to go ahead and hem my skirt bottoms, because again, it's easier if I hem them now than if I hem them later. So I'm gonna fold my 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm gonna hem sleeves and skirt. Alright, so you can trim some of these tails. If you did it with a sewing machine, you can go ahead and clip some of those corners so it's flushed, and then we're going to turn it around and steam. Make sure you poke out those corners nicely all around. Alright, now we're going to put our outer face up on our mat, and we're going to grab our sleeves, our hem sleeves, and we're going to place where we marked that little area right at the center of our arm side. Now remember, we're putting the right sides together. So the outer edge, this is my outer, right sides up, and the sleeve right on top. And we're going to go matching up those raw edges on the sleeve all the way down. So we're going to match up those sleeves and arm sides together and go down the other way. Make sure all 3 layers are touching, the liner, the outer, and your sleeve. So when you sew them, they're all together. And we're going to do that for both sleeves. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my half of my skirt, And then we're gonna go over to my sewing machine and I'm gonna put in a basting stitch, long basting stitch to gather that top, because we're gonna gather the skirt to the width of the bodice. So I wanna go ahead and I'm gonna mark it first, so that way when I go to attach it to my bodice, I know where my half is. Really, one of the hardest parts about sewing doll clothes is making sure that everything else is out of the way, because there are such small pieces, you don't wanna get them cut underneath where you don't want them to. Alright, while I am here at my machine, I'm going to set my stitch back to regular stitch. And I'm going to go ahead and see my top of my dress. Here's my back. This is the top of my back. I'm going to go ahead and grab my hoop and loop, and I'm just going to go ahead. This one is the kind that sticks on. So it's really great for me because then I can just stick it on and then sew on top of it if I want to. And then it won't move on me when I'm sewing. So I like that. But I can, you know, fix it and put it exactly where I want if I don't end up putting it in the right place. But if you don't have this kind, that's okay. You can just go ahead and use your pin it and then sew it on. I am going to go ahead and sew it on because I want it to stay still, and I know how kids are and they're kind of rough on clothing, and I don't want this to come undone while they're playing. So I'm gonna put one on the back and the other one on the overlap so that they overlap together and Velcro together. And then I'm gonna go in my sewing machine and just sew around it and stitch it together onto the bodice. Now all we have left is to attach our skirt. I'm just trimming some of these. Our Velcro is all on. Attach our skirt, and then after we attach our skirt, we sew our sides and we're done. That's it. All right, so I'm gonna find the middle of my bodice. Now the back already, you know, the middle is overlap, but the front, we wanna match that middle, and we're gonna grab our bodice. I'm just gonna put it down on my mat, and we're gonna grab our skirt, and we're gonna make sure that it is the width of our bodice. Just even those gathers out. That's why it's good to leave a good tail on your gathering stitch. And we're gonna match up right here where I made those marks on my bodice and make sure that they're all even. That will help me even out my gathers. All right, and now I'm gonna match up right sides together. So I'm flipping it over and right sides together where that half I marked earlier right here, and then all the way down one side. And it's actually, sometimes it's easier to see the gathers, how even they are from the wrong side of the fabric. I think I see them better this way. And then the same for the other side. And we're gonna sew that together. Now for the back, we're gonna do the same thing, but we have the area right here. We'll just put it together, Velcro it together, and make sure that they're even Velcroed. And this is gonna be our half right there. So we're gonna grab our skirt and match it up. Make sure the gathers are even. All right, find that middle piece, fold it over, right on top, and pin, and then sew those two. We are almost done. I love how easy it is to sew doll dresses, and they are just the perfect thing to give away. Also, because you can make them with your cute little scraps, so then you're not like, oh, I used up all my cute fabric. No, you just used up the scraps, so that's awesome. So now we're gonna grab our dress and we're gonna fold it right sides together and just sew those side seams together, and that's it. We are done. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin and sew. And I always forget. Now remember, if you put tags on your dresses, little side tags, this is the time to do it. I always forget, but I like to put little tags because it gives it like an extra cute look, and they remember who made it when they get them and everything like that. So let's finish up. All right, we are done with our cute, cute, cute little, I love the 90s dress. And I love this pattern so much. So I just love this little doll dress because it is just adorable. Look at this. Now all I gotta do is pull out those basting stitches. How adorable is this? This is like super, super adorable. I can't get over it. I want it now. Like now I need to make a 90s dress with this fabric for me because this is super cute. Now the last thing you have to do is you see all these little tails here, we gotta tuck them in. We can use like a tapestry needle, like a thick needle, and wind it through that seam allowance right here, and then grab your tail and tuck it in the needle and pull it through. You can also do like a zigzag stitch over it on your seam allowance. We do have other videos here in our channel that shows different ways to get rid of the serger tails, so you can go check it out and find out which is your favorite method, and then come back over here and let me know what your favorite method is of putting away these serger tails. So I'm gonna continue to do so, finish up putting these away, and just take off this basting stitch of the waist. How adorable. Seriously, this is super cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know if you have any questions. Comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't, so you never miss any of our tutorials. Come find us on Instagram and on Facebook so you can see what everybody is making and you can be inspired to make your own beautiful things. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!